Have you ever wondered if there's more to history than what we see in the textbooks? Well, today, we're diving into an ancient text that suggests just that. It's a story that pulls back the curtain on the great movements of history, the rise and fall of empires, and hints at an unseen war fought by forces way beyond our understanding. We're decoding the incredible vision of Daniel chapter 10.
Okay, so let's start with a really human moment here. We find the prophet Daniel, not on some mountaintop getting a message, but in a state of deep personal crisis. For 3 solid weeks, he's mourning, he's fasting, he's not eating any good food or drinking any wine. This isn't just some random detail, it's the launching pad for everything that's about to happen. So it's right from this place of total anguish that Daniel has this world-changing, supernatural encounter. He's standing by the great river Hiddekel, which we know today as the Tigris, and suddenly, the veil between our world and another one is just torn right back.
Daniel looks up, and wow. What he sees is a being so glorious that our words can't really do it justice. The description starts with linen and fine gold, symbols of purity and kingship, but it very quickly ramps up into something way more intense and terrifying.
The imagery here is just overwhelming. It's all about raw power, a face like a flash of lightning, eyes like torches of fire. This is not some gentle, floating angel. The vision is blinding, it's intense, and it communicates a kind of power that's almost violent in its majesty.
And then there's the voice. Just try to imagine a sound that isn't one person talking, but an entire stadium full of people, all shouting in perfect unison. It's a voice that would just completely overwhelm your senses, communicating this immense, undeniable authority.
So how does Daniel react to all this? Well, it absolutely wrecks him. His strength is gone, he says, his face turned pale and ghastly, and he just collapses, face down on the ground. Get this, even his friends, who didn't even see the vision, were hit with this wave of pure terror and ran for it. It just goes to show you the massive gap between our reality and the divine. So as Daniel's lying there, completely wiped out, an angel touches him and helps him up. And this is where he gets a truly stunning message. He's told that his prayers were heard from the very first day he started fasting. But the answer, the messenger himself, was delayed. And the reason why? Well, that's the central mystery of this entire chapter.
The reason for the delay is just mind-blowing. The messenger was basically ambushed. He was locked in a 21-day battle with this figure called the Prince of the Kingdom of Persia. And with that one line, this whole story shifts from a personal vision to a sneak peek at a cosmic war.
And you see that number? 21 days. That is the exact amount of time Daniel was mourning and fasting. The text is basically shouting that there's a connection. While Daniel was praying on earth, a full-on battle was raging in the heavens. His prayers weren't just going into the void, they were an active part of this unseen struggle. It's this idea that what happens here can actually affect what happens there. So of course, this brings up the biggest question of all. Who, or what, is this Prince of the Kingdom of Persia? What could possibly be powerful enough to hold up a heavenly messenger for 3 whole weeks? I mean, we know it's not the human king of Persia at the time, Cyrus the Great. This was something else entirely.
What the text is describing here is a war not between people, but between incredibly powerful spiritual beings. Commentators believe this Prince of Persia is a fallen angel, a demonic power assigned to influence the entire Persian Empire, to steer its politics and its power against Daniel's people. But the messenger reveals he wasn't fighting alone. After 21 days of being stalled, he got backup from Michael, who's described as one of the chief princes and Israel's own special protector. So you've got this incredible spiritual showdown, a demonic prince pushing Persia one way and a heavenly prince, Michael, pushing back to defend Israel.
Okay, so this one specific conflict, it's actually a window into a much bigger idea about how the world works, according to this text. What we're seeing isn't just about one empire at one time. It's like a blueprint for how spiritual forces are constantly interacting with human history.
And the angel makes it crystal clear that this war is far from over. He tells Daniel, "I've got to go back and continue the fight with the Prince of Persia." But then he drops another bombshell about the future. He says that once Persia's power is dealt with, a new spiritual power will rise to take its place, the Prince of Grecia, or Greece.
And what's wild is that this spiritual timeline lines up perfectly with a major turning point in real-world history. The angel's words predict the fall of the massive Persian Empire and the rise of the Greek Empire under Alexander the Great, who conquered Persia in 331 BC. The unseen war of the princes seems to mirror and maybe even precede the visible wars of humanity.
You know, this whole idea of spiritual beings being in charge of nations isn't just a one-off thing in this chapter. It's part of a broader worldview you can find in other ancient texts too. The tradition suggests every nation has a kind of angelic guardian or prince, and their conflicts in the spiritual realm actually influence the politics, the culture, and the wars down here in our world.
So you have to ask yourself, why? Why was Daniel shown this absolutely terrifying, mind-bending vision? Why pull the curtain back on this unseen war at all? Well, the last few verses reveal that this entire incredible experience, it was all just the warm-up act for something even bigger.
The angel's purpose is laid out plain and simple. He says he came to make Daniel understand what was going to happen to his people way down the line. The vision of the cosmic war wasn't actually the main event. It was the context, the background for a super detailed historical prophecy he was about to get.
And this right here, this is the real kicker of the chapter. The angel says he's about to reveal what's written in the scripture of truth. Daniel's grief, the terrifying vision, the story of the angel war, it was all to prove that the message that's coming next is legit. It establishes the heavenly authority behind the prophecy. It's like saying, listen up, because what I'm about to tell you is the real deal.
So at the end of the day, you can think of Daniel chapter 10 as the preface to a book. It's the opening credits of the movie. It sets the stage for what's about to be revealed. It tells us that the history we can see is tangled up with a spiritual reality we can't, and that the incredibly detailed predictions coming in chapter 11 come straight from that higher authority, that scripture of truth.
So we're left with this huge, provocative thought. The text of Daniel 10 asks us to wonder, what if history is more than just economics and politics and the big decisions of powerful people? It suggests that behind the thrones of earthly kings and presidents, there might just be other forces at play, shaping the destiny of nations in a war we can't even see.